My name is Jesse Kaminsky. I'm a Western fashion designer based in Tucson, Arizona. My clothing brand is called Dude Ranch Apparel. I like to use classic designs with a more modern twist. Um, I use a lot of Southwest themes in my work, but I still try and keep a vintage aspect to each garment. Everything I make is handmade. It's all one of a kind, very unique. And I focus on sustainability as well. I typically use vintage fabrics or secondhand. Um, any time I can, I try and use some sort of secondhand material. The textile industry is extremely wasteful, and anything that I can do to reduce that waste, I'm going to do. I grew up in Seattle, Washington, not very Western up there, although it is a bit rugged. But I was always drawn to the Southwest and the desert. I visited Tucson as a kid, and I didn't realize what a profound impact and influence the desert really had on me when I visited back then. But I look back at artwork that I had made through the years, and I can see now the influence that the Southwest had on me, and I try and incorporate that into most of my pieces. As far as designing and the technical work, the sewing and everything like that, I'm 100% self-taught. I taught myself through a lot of trial and error, YouTube videos, staying up late, working on things, breaking things, understanding how sewing machines work, understanding different types of thread, different types of fabric, and I'm still learning. I'm learning every single day. It took me a long time to get good at what I'm doing. It takes a lot of trial before you really start to understand how things work. You know, and I still struggle, but I make it work, and I think that everything that I make in the end comes out, um, to the highest quality that it can be. So, 100% self-taught. Bought a sewing machine about 4 or 5 years ago, and just went at it. Just kept making and breaking until I figured it out. The meaning behind the name Dude Ranch Apparel is interesting. I mean, there's nothing more Southwest than a dude ranch, And what do you wear when you go to a dude ranch? You're not really wearing uh, clothes that you're going to work in. You're, going to wear something more fashionable, but that keeps the Western theme. So I believe that that's what I'm creating. I'm creating a classic Western style, um, but that is also fashionable. Um, it's not necessarily just workwear. It's really meant to be a statement, and yeah, that's why I chose the name Dude Ranch Apparel. I don't really spend a lot of time designing. I just kind of start going. I pick a fabric or a couple of fabrics and I kind of roll them out and I just start going from there. I don't really think about the end. Um, I like to be creative while I'm making an item. I think it gives it more authenticity and it's more unique that way. Why would you want to go into a store and buy something off the shelf and then walk down the street and see a dozen other people wearing it? If you buy something from me, you're getting you're getting a unique item, and you're going to be the only one that has it. Each one of my pieces is handmade and unique. No two are going to be alike. They may have similarities, but no two are going to be exactly the same. I focus on sustainability. A lot of these fabrics we don't know the story behind them, but they do have a story. They all came from somewhere, and they were used for something. And so I'm turning those pieces back into something else that somebody's going to be able to enjoy for a long time, and it's going to start a new story, based on an old story that we may not know, but we'll know the new story. And I invite you all to become part of that story and help sustainability in fashion. And if you buy from me, you're going to get a quality, handmade, fashionable product. Growing up, I never really thought that I was interested in fashion. I think that I was always very fashionable, or at least I tried minimally to be fashionable. But it wasn't really something that I thought that I was passionate about. I didn't realize that that was something I was passionate about. After I moved to the desert and I started seeing, all its beauty and all it had to offer, I just fell in love with Western fashion. I was always have always been into American Western culture. Western films and cowboys and horses and everything like that. But it didn't really consume my life until I moved to the Southwest, where that style was a lot more prevalent. I think fashion has been a part of my life uh, for a really long time. It's essentially part of my family heritage. My grandfather and his father owned a men's clothing store in Rochester, New York. And my uncle, his family owned one of the largest textile shops in Rochester, New York. It is certainly something that I'm proud of. I want to thank everybody for listening to my story, as short as it is. And I encourage you to, to look at my stuff, look at my designs. If you're interested, reach out to me. I want you to take this journey with me and give these pieces a new story. I hope to see you wearing my stuff. What are you doing? Riding around chasing these bucks and these ducks in the mud. I'm in heaven in the country, we say hell no.